Welcome to the Beyond the Mind podcast, where we ask not what's in your head, but what your head is in.
Prepare to be inspired to change your environment, change your mindset, and ultimately change your life. Willpower doesn't work, people. If you truly want to move away from stress and anxiety, you have to start with your environment. So let's go. Let's apply some positive change into your world.
Happiness is loading. Welcome to the Beyond the Mind podcast.
Hello everybody, and welcome to the first ever episode of the Beyond the Mind podcast, hosted by me, Iain Highfield. So today, what subject are we going to be covering? Well, I think it's hugely important that in the launch episode of a podcast, the information provided can build trust. If I am going to help you create positive change in your life, if I'm going to help you shift your environment so that you can move from frustration to fulfillment, one thing is vital. You have to trust what I'm saying. So today is going to take us a milli-step towards building that trust. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my journey, and then I'm going to tell you what this podcast is all about, the goals of this podcast, how are we going to achieve those goals, and then finally, why. Why am I giving up my time to create this podcast? But before I do that, I'm going to tell a story. And the reason I'm going to tell a story is that telling a story is an exceptional form of communication. And those of you that have read my books, those of you that have heard me speak on stage, you know how passionate I am about this. I open up every presentation I do with a story. I close presentations down with stories. I give analogies during the presentation, and that's the same in the books that I've authored. So, with no further ado, I'm going to share a story with you, and this story is super important to me. So it's very fitting that this is in the first episode. So, deep breath. Okay. Whew. Many years ago, there was a meeting of the gods. And this wasn't a meeting of just any gods. These were the most powerful gods to ever exist. The reason the meeting was being called, the gods feared that humans were becoming too powerful. And they feared that one day the humans would figure out the secret to life. And they did not want this to happen because they wanted to maintain their power. The first god spoke. He said, I know what we'll do. We will hide the secret to life at the top of the tallest mountain. Another god spoke and said, no, we can't do that. One day, humans will conquer mountains. Another god spoke and very directly said, we shall hide the secret to life at the bottom of the deepest, darkest ocean. Another god interjected super quickly and said, no, we can't do that. One day humans will build machines, and these machines will take them to the bottom of the deepest, darkest seas. There was a long pause, and then almost from nowhere, almost mystically, the oldest and wisest god of all spoke, and he said, I know where we'll hide the secret to life. We'll hide it inside the humans. They will never, ever think to look there. I heard this story in about 2009. I'd just been fired from my medical sales job. I was living above a pizza restaurant with my girlfriend at the time, rent-free, and I was completely directionless in my life. I took my last £2,000 that I had available on a credit card, and I still to this day have no idea why I did this. I took my last £2,000 and said, I'm gonna do a motivational course. So I signed up for this self-help, motivational, neuro-linguistic programming course in 2009, just been fired from my job, and the first thing they presented on that course was that story. Ever since I heard that story, my mindset has been different. That was the first time I was ever told I have everything I need to be successful. I just need to bring it out. And that's what this podcast is about. I truly believe that. And my journey over the last 10 years reflects that. Because now, as I sit here and talk to you, I'm a 2-time published author, I'm a speaker, and I'm a performance coach. A performance coach to some of the best athletes on the planet and some of the high net worth individuals that you can possibly find. How did I do that? My environment. I made changes to my environment. That story inspired me, and then I started to make changes. I started to change my daily habits. So in 2009, living above a pizza shop, no job, completely broke, took my last £2,000, invested it, heard that story, followed the rest of the advice and action points that I got on that course, and I started to do some performance coaching. 2010, 2011, 2012 went by. I had a new job. I was still in the medical industry. I was working for a big medical company. Again, had a nice car, had a pension plan, had 2 houses, nice suit, flash watch. All of that stuff was still important to me. I didn't make a transition overnight. It took time. But this little side hustle that I'd created, I'd started to help local professional golfers and some national golfers perform better on a higher level. I'd actually started to coach players who were playing for millions of euros. And then I started to help people who had body dysmorphic disorder, phobias, anxiety. And I really started to derive fulfillment from this. So around 2013, I took a step back and I saw, wow, you've got this tiny, tiny part of your life where you help people. You help people change their habits. You help people change their environment. You help people take strides towards their goals and dreams, and it really makes you fulfilled. But you can't leave your job because your job pays so much money and this only pays a little bit. This is just a side hustle. Well, I broke away from that limiting belief, and in 2013, I went all in. I went all in to becoming the best performance coach that I could possibly be. And believe it or not, I landed a job as director of mental performance at a USA-based academy. So this was like a dream come true for me. So from 2009, hearing that story, making positive change, I transitioned, and by 2013, I basically had my dream job. But that's when the real adversity struck. Things happened that was so crazy that I wanted to quit. But fortunately for me, I was in too deep. My environment that I placed myself in, the commitments that I'd made, the transition of moving from England to the US, all of that meant I was in too deep to quit. So I couldn't quit. My environment wouldn't allow it. I had no other choice but to push through this stress and adversity. And as I look back now, I'm so grateful for that. Because habits of excellence evolved from the pressure and stresses of that environment. If I did have a plan B, if I did have some comfort that I could step back across and get into, would I have taken it? I like to think not, but maybe I would have. But as I sit here now, the person that's made me, the ability to deal with adversity, the ability to set goals, the ability to mold environments that lead to my mindset being what I want it to be, I definitely wouldn't. So over the last 10 years, I've gone from being broke, living above a pizza shop with my girlfriend rent-free, to becoming a 2-time author, a public speaker, and a performance coach to some of the world's best athletes and high net worth individuals. And the key to this was that I was happy. I stopped thinking about the expensive watch. I stopped thinking about the expensive suit. I stopped thinking about houses, cars. I stopped being a consumer. I stopped wanting to consume this. I stopped looking for happiness in titles, in outcomes, in money. And I started to look for fulfillment in the processes. I started to find that what I do every day makes me happy. As long as I'm taking a step, even if it's a tiny step, to what I want to be spiritually, personally, to taking tiny steps to helping others, taking tiny steps to creating positive change and making the world a better place. If I'm doing that, then I'm happy. And that is what I focus on. That is what I've taught some of the world's best athletes. That is what I've taught some high net worth individuals and businesses. And in turn, the amazing thing, that's what they've taught me. So, my environment that I've been placed in over the last 10 years has allowed me to create personal habits that have made me become happy and fulfilled. I have made the shift from being someone with just ideas in my mind and being frustrated to actioning those ideas and becoming someone who is fulfilled and happy. And that's what I want for you. That is what this podcast is all about. I want to help you, help yourself make strides, create positive change, and become happier and more fulfilled. I think it was John Lennon who apparently, I don't know if this is a true story or not, but it's an amazing one. When he was 8 years old, he was asked by his school teacher, "John, what do you want to be when you grow up?" His reply, "I want to be happy." The teacher said, "I'm sorry, John, I don't think you understand the question." And John replied, at the tender age of 8 years old, "I'm sorry, I don't think you understand life." And that resonates with me because I was so focused on the outcome, jobs, titles, watches, cars, holidays, houses, that I lost sight of what makes me happy. And now, over the last decade on my journey, I am able to say that I am a happier, more fulfilled individual than I was a decade ago. My girlfriend actually made a comment to me the other day and it resonated with me. She said, "You know why you're so happy? Because you don't want for anything." And yeah, she's correct. I don't want that new Gucci wallet. I don't want those Instagram likes. I don't want that new car. I don't want that bigger house. What I want is every day to spread positive change because that makes me feel fulfilled. That makes me feel happy. So, how will we achieve this? How will we create positive change? If you join the Beyond the Mind community, how? How am I going to help you? How are you going to help me? Well, one thing I've learned on this journey is willpower does not work, people. Willpower does not work. We cannot just do this with our mind. If you truly want to change your mindset, you have to change the environments that you're in. And over the last decade, that's what I've done with professional athletes and businesses and individuals that I've mentored. I have helped them make change to their environment, and in turn, that has changed their mindset. So the goal of this podcast, every time we have an episode, every time we talk about a subject, if I have a guest on that's absolute mind-blowing guest that is doing things that you want to do, we will sign the podcast off with something practical. We will sign the podcast off by saying, hey, this is the action that you have to take. We're not just going to talk about it, we're going to do it. We're going to change the environment around you so it forces certain behaviors and in turn changes your mindset. So, what is the podcast about? The podcast is about positive change think about the story of the gods. You have everything inside you. I just want to help you bring that out. How are we going to do that? We're going to bring that out through changes to the environment. Willpower doesn't work. You are going to make positive changes by engaging in tasks, changing things around you, which will change your mindset. And why? Why? Why am I doing this? Well, I think it's really simple. Fulfillment. This is going to make me feel fulfilled. This is going to make me feel happy. As I reflect back to 2009 and previous before that, my ultimate goal is to be the friend that I needed in those times. I didn't have anyone. I kind of just found myself in this situation where I was in too deep to quit, and that environment drove me. I want to help people create environments that create positive change. I want to be the person that I needed when I was 12 years old. I want to be the person that I needed when I was 16 years old, who can tell me the story of the gods, who can say anything's possible. Hey, if you want to run faster, this is how you can change your environment. Hey, if you want to jump higher, this is how you can change your environment. Hey, if you want to be a performance coach, this is how you can do it. In life, anything is possible. One of the professors that has mentored me, he said, Iain, humans are blessed with a gift, and that's the gift of adaptability. And if they are placed in the right environments and the brain and body are put under stress, the brain and body adapt. I want to help you apply that scientific evidence into your life by being that person who can help you make positive change and creating a community that holds you accountable. So, in 2009, 2010, I heard that story, the story of the gods, and it changed my life. I now want to be the person that tells you that same story and helps you change your life. So, your only action, I said we're going to do something practical at the end of every session. Your only action, smash that subscribe button. If you trust me, if you like listening to more content based along this, if you want to connect with me, smash the subscribe button. Join the Beyond the Mind movement. Listen to more of my podcasts. Check my website out, iainhighfield.com. That's IAINHIGHFIELD, iainhighfield.com, where I have a calendar. You could sign up for a free 30-minute power call with me. If the website isn't quite up and running, then you can message me at Iain, IAIN, that's IAIN.highfield, HIGHFIELD, at gmail.com, iainhighfield@gmail.com. Instagram is Iain at Iain Hyphy, IAINHIFEY. And finally, Facebook, Beyond the Mind, YouTube, Beyond the Mind. So many ways that you can join this community, but please, please, please follow the podcast. The next episode, I'm going to do a topic that's close to my heart, and that you will hear another inspirational story about a person who lived through absolute adversity and ultimately pushed on through and achieved their goals and has an amazing life. So hit subscribe, check out those links. Feel free to message me or email me for a free 30-minute power call, and let's do this. Let's create positive change.
You've just taken a step forward to making a positive change in your life. That's right.